Hi there, and welcome to Duke Engage. My name is Adria Kinney, and I'm the Assistant Director for Training and Student Development, and I am so excited to tell you all about this magnificent program. I'm joined today by two students. I have Clarice Hu and Nikki Santos with me. Both Clarice and Nikki are former Duke Engage program participants, and they are going to introduce themselves further and tell you all about their Duke Engage experience in a little bit. But first, I'm going to dive right in and give you some background on our program before I let you hear from Clarice and Nikki. So hopefully, if you're watching this, it's because you already have a good sense of what Duke Engage is about. But just in case that's not so, I'm going to start by giving you what I think is a really good, succinct summary of what our program is all about. So Duke Engage is an immersive summer opportunity through which students and faculty collaborate with communities. These communities are local, these communities are all over the globe, to address critical social issues. That's really what Duke Engage is in a nutshell, but I want to dive a little bit deeper into some of these words. So let's start with immersive. We tell our students all the time that Duke Engage is an immersive experience, and we really mean that. When our students go into their various communities to work for the summer, our expectation is that they will position themselves and embed themselves in the community so that they're able to learn about it from the perspective of a local. We don't expect our students to behave like tourists or outsiders. We really want them to get to know the authentic everyday life of the community. The word collaborate is also really important. All of the work that our students and faculty do is collaborative in nature. So in all of the communities in which we work, we partner with a local community organization. Many of these organizations we've been working with for years and years, and students and faculty develop a partnership with these organizations. I want to emphasize that we work with these communities and with these organizations. We're not working in service for them, but we're working with them. The goal is really to strike up a reciprocal, sustainable relationship over many years. And finally, students and faculty are working to address critical social issues. And I think this really gets at the community-driven nature of the work that we do. So in all of the communities where we work, we're partnering with organizations on issues that they have identified as being important to them. And that's really what Duke Engage is all about, sending students and faculty to embed themselves in communities, working side by side to address critical social issues. To give you kind of a sense of the broad-reaching scope of Duke Engage, I'm going to start by throwing some facts and figures at you for a second here. So this summer, we're celebrating 14 years of Duke Engage. And as of this summer, over 4,800 students have partnered with more than 600 community organizations in 84 countries and 46 US cities. We have been on every continent except for Antarctica, and our students have logged over 1 million hours of work in their respective communities. Something else you might be interested to hear is that in the past 5 years alone, the Duke Engage participants that we've sent out have come from over 55 academic majors, minors, and certificates at Duke, representing more than 51 different departments. So I share that just because I think it goes to show that we attract a really wide range of students from a variety of academic disciplines, and they go out into a really wide array of communities all around the world. All right, so let's talk a bit about the structure of our program and what it actually looks like on the ground. I always like to start with this fact because I think it makes people really happy to hear that Duke Engage is fully funded, and I do mean fully funded. Every expense that a student incurs on Duke Engage is completely paid for. So that means flights to and from your project site, that means room and board, that means any kind of vaccine you might need in order to participate. Duke Engage completely covers it. Furthermore, for students who are on financial aid and have a summer earnings requirement as part of their financial aid package, that earnings requirement is actually waived for the summer in which you participate in Duke Engage. So this is really meant to be a program that's as accessible as possible to as many students as possible, which I think is just fantastic. All right, a little bit more about the program. We've already talked about how it's immersive and it spans 8 weeks and beyond. What I mean by that is a Duke Engage experience takes place over 8 weeks in the summer, but there's substantial pre-departure training that takes place before the experience starts. So all students who participate in Duke Engage are expected to commit to 4 weeks of pre-departure training prior to going on their programs. That's because we think it's really important for this kind of work for students to be critically examining what they're doing, why they're doing, how they're doing it, and why all of that matters. We sustain this model through ongoing structured reflection throughout the duration of the Duke Engage experience. There are 2 different tracks that a student can opt into that's participating in Duke Engage. Students can participate in a group program here in the US or in one of our international locations. Each summer, approximately 2/3 of the programs that we run will be in an international location and about 1/3 here in the US. I do want to stop and note that if you've done research about this program in the past, you may know that there used to be an independent project option. However, that will not be an option for summer 2021. So it's not on the slide for a reason, and I'm not going to be talking about it today. I will also say that we have a highly selective admissions process. So we tell students that overall the acceptance rate for Duke Engage is about 50%, because each summer we have to turn away about half of the applications that we receive. However, I will say that number does not necessarily tell you too much because there's so much variability from program to program. Some programs are way more competitive than others, and so having a sense of the overall acceptance rate doesn't really give you too much information. What we tell students is rather than focusing on how competitive a particular program is, to focus on making yourself as competitive of an applicant as possible. That means choosing a program that is well suited to your interests and your skills, that sort of thing. I will say too, if you are not accepted the first time you apply for Duke Engage, you can keep applying for as long as you're eligible. Which brings me to my next slide. Who is eligible to apply for Duke Engage? Well, all first, second, and third year students in good academic standing are eligible to apply for Duke Engage. We do have a prohibition on graduating seniors in that they are not eligible to apply to Duke Engage. And that is simply because we really want students to bring the experiences and the knowledge that they gain on Duke Engage. We want them to bring it back to campus and to contribute it to the Duke community here. So you have to be planning to return to Duke's campus for at least 1 semester following your Duke Engage experience. We also get asked a lot about the right time to apply for Duke Engage, and there really is no right time and there's no wrong time to apply. It truly just depends on the individual. About half of the students who choose to Duke Engage will choose to do it after their sophomore year. About a quarter will choose to do it after their first year, and about another quarter will choose to do it after their junior year. However, this is not something that we select for. Students do not have priority or they're not given any preference in a certain year. It really just depends on what you're trying to get out of the experience. Some students, they want to do Duke Engage right away. They want to do it immediately after their first year of college and then use their Duke Engage experience to inform the rest of their time at Duke. And for other students, it's the exact opposite. They want to take time and explore their interests and refine their skills and then come back and do Duke Engage as a capstone. And each of those experiences is completely valid. So there's no right time, there's no wrong time. You just can't do it after senior year. But other than that, it's open to all students in good academic standing. All right, well, this is the time in the presentation when I stop talking and turn it over to the 2 students that I mentioned earlier so that you can hear from them a firsthand perspective on what it's like to participate in Duke Engage. So we will start with Clarice who did the Duke Engage Peru program.
Hi, I'm Clarice. I'm a rising senior studying biology and computer science. I decided to apply to Duke Engage because I was excited to have the opportunity to get more extended time to spend working in a community and to build relationships with others. I chose to apply to an international group program because I wanted to experience a whole new culture and I didn't think I was ready for a more independent journey. I recommend going to the information sessions for the programs you're interested in and asking former students what they thought about the programs. So the goals of the project that I did were to support community development and environmental conservation in indigenous communities in Cusco. We worked on multiple projects over the summer with two partner organizations that one worked with community engagement and one worked more with the environment. So we did some conservation work by cleaning up a lake and building a fence around it. And the other project that we did was teaching young students about environmental conservation. So on a regular day, we would leave pretty early at around 7:15 and work on the projects for about 5 hours. And then we would eat lunch with our partners in a community member's home. And once we arrived back in Cusco, we would attend workshops about leadership and culture and sustainability. And then we would also have Spanish lessons twice a week. And we would have weekends and evenings to have free time. It was really nice to participate in and learn about Peruvian culture. For example, we were in Cusco during the most important festival that celebrates the sun, and we were actually invited to participate in the parade with our partner organization. And another thing I'll never be able to forget was being able to see Machu Picchu on my birthday. My Duke Engage experience helped me develop more flexibility and gratitude. I used to view life as merely a straight shot towards my goals, and I think my life was just racing by. I won't say that I'm not like that at all anymore, but I've definitely learned to move away from that tunnel vision version of my life. And I've also learned to appreciate the things happening around me. Since returning to Duke, I've obviously stayed involved with Duke Engage, but I've also gotten more involved in other volunteering on campus, and this past summer I was a Broadhead Fellow, which has basically allowed me to pursue a second summer of community engagement work. Since I'm interested in becoming a physician, I chose a reproductive health nonprofit near my hometown, which joined my interest in community service and with medicine. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Clarice. And now we are going to hear from Nikki Santos, who participated in the Duke Engage Dublin program.
Hi everyone, my name is Nikki Santos and I'm a rising senior at Duke studying psychology and English. So I became interested in Duke Engage Dublin, not at all for the location, but more for the theme. So the theme of this project was focusing on immigrations, refugees, and human rights. And I really got involved with this work when I joined a focus group my freshman year, and the professor who ran the focus group was the one who was in charge of this Duke Engage program. And she really encouraged me to apply. At this point, I didn't know really what I was getting myself into. I kind of read about it. I liked what it sounded like. I loved the service component of it. I loved the collaborative efforts of it. And I decided, why not apply and see what happens? So I did Duke Engage Dublin the summer after my freshman year, and it was a really transformative experience. People were placed with all sorts of different organizations within this project. So you had people working directly with the Irish government, people working with all sorts of nonprofit organizations. I was always interested in the more artsy projects, so I was actually working at a photography gallery while I was there. And the photography gallery taught me a lot of really practical skills. They taught me how to set up an exhibition. They taught me how to interview different people, how to use a camera, how to use different programs like Photoshop and Lightroom and all of those. But in addition to that, they allowed me to design my own projects while I was there. And so I was able to teach different migrants and refugees how to use cameras, how to use the same programs that I was learning. I started a competition that spanned all of Ireland, and we got entries from all over the country that really focused on showing what interculturalism looked like in a developing Ireland. I got to learn much more about a different culture, and at this point I had never been to a different country before, so it was really a huge experience for me, getting to see the place all over, getting to make those new friends, getting to see what it was like to live in a different place. But the thing I take the most from my Duke Engage experience was the amount of confidence it gave me afterwards. At that point, I was a freshman coming straight out of high school. I had just finished 1 year at Duke, and I didn't have a lot of confidence in what it took to do a 9-to-5 job and what it took to live that kind of lifestyle by myself in another country. After coming out of my Duke Engage experience, I just felt so much more confident to be able to take on different projects. If I was able to start an international photo competition in a completely different country, I felt like I could really do anything. And it really encouraged me to pursue a lot of different projects at Duke. So I've remained with my interests in photo storytelling, in migration and human rights. I continue to work with the professor who led the Duke Engage program in her lab, and it's really transformed everything. It's what I'm basing my thesis on. It's like Clarice, I'm also a Broadhead Fellow this summer, and I was able to work with the U.S. Committee for Refugees and Immigrants. And it's been a really great experience being able to compare Duke Engage and the Broadhead Fellows and just really kind of explore my journey throughout my interests and kind of commit to that service full time.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Nikki and Clarice. I always love hearing from students because I think it's just the best way to understand what a Duke Engage experience is truly like on the ground. So thanks to you both for sharing your stories. At this point, hopefully you've heard some things that have piqued your interest, and you might be wondering, what else should I know about Duke Engage at this point as you're trying to decide whether or not this program might be a good fit for you? Well, here are some things, some traits in students that we are looking for. First, we're looking for students who have a desire to challenge themselves and a readiness to manage stress in new environments. Duke Engage is hard work. It's not a vacation. You probably heard both Nikki and Clarice talk about kind of the day-to-day tasks that they had to do, the 9-to-5 structure of the work. This is serious. You're often in environments with which you are not very familiar, so we're looking for students who are flexible, adaptable, mature, and able to take on the stress of stepping outside of their comfort zone. We're also looking for students who will commit to learning how to think critically about social issues, developing a framework for purpose, action, consequence, and change. As I mentioned early in the presentation, pre-departure training and ongoing reflection, those are two core components of Duke Engage. At its core, the focus of Duke Engage is on the work that you're doing, and we're looking for students who are willing to dive into these social issues and think about them from a variety of perspectives. And finally, this is a really key cornerstone of Duke Engage as well. We are looking for students who are interested in cultivating respectful and reciprocal relationships across diverse communities. We certainly want Duke Engage to be accessible for everyone, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's for everyone. We want students to think long and hard about their interests, their strengths, their skills in deciding whether or not a Duke Engage summer is the best choice for them. And so here are some next steps that you can take to do exactly that, to figure out whether or not this might be a program that you want to apply for. First, you should definitely check out our website. There is a lot of information out there, including a list of programs that have run in the past. I will say that program selection varies from summer to summer, and so just because a program has run in the past, there's no guarantee that it will come back for future summers, but you can take a look and get a pretty good sense of the kinds of places that we've been before and the kind of work students and faculty have worked on in the past. You can also contact a student guide. So these are students who have already participated in Duke Engage and have decided to come back and serve as leaders and ambassadors for future students. There's a tab on our website, a students tab on our website. Under the students tab, there's a link that says after your experience. And if you click on that link, a list of all of our student guides will pop up, and you can feel free to contact one of them, shoot them an email, and ask them any questions you might have. I would also recommend that you talk to a DAE. These are the Directors of Academic Engagement, and their job is to help you think about co-curricular opportunities at Duke and whether or not one of them might fit in your schedule. So definitely reach out to them if you have questions about Duke Engage as well. You can also follow us on social media, and I will put up where you can find us on social media. So you can see our Instagram handle, our Facebook page. This is the website that I was referencing earlier. And then you also have our email address there. So if you have any questions at all that were not answered today, please don't hesitate to reach out. Well, that concludes our presentation. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope to see many of you applying.